Alright, I hope everyone's been having a pretty good day so far. There's been a massive influx of other content creator and players that are concerned about Verina and her future. So today I'll be answering 3 questions, which is, will Verina get power crept? Is her kit good for players? And should you include her in your team? If you'd like to join me on future guides and adventures, be sure to like, subscribe, and if you join the Discord, you get a chance to win a free battle pass on the day of release. I'll be giving them away on May 22nd at Twitch, so make sure you're there. So the first question is, will Verina get power crept? Well, people believe that Verina will get power crept because all gacha games eventually do that. And I also do believe the same. However, we can't forget the fact that this isn't Hoyoverse we're talking about. This is Kuro Games that we're talking about. And although they are a smaller company, they actually listen to their player base as opposed to Hoyoverse. Think of all the rewards and efforts that they have put into this game. And the fact that the player base is having discussions in the first place before the game even starts is a super good thing, and it shows that Wuthering Waves will definitely succeed. I'll also give you 3 major examples as to why we, the players, have less to worry about. In the past, they made a game called Punishing Gray Raven, PGR, and it has one of the slowest power creeps. For instance, there's a character called Alpha, and after 2 years is finally getting power crept by Balter. There's also the combat system from Punishing Gray Raven that is transferred into Wuthering Waves, which is likely the reason why I think that they will also adapt the slow power creeping style from PGR. Second, we also know that just from the CBD2 developer response that they are extremely quick in fixing issues that players face, and one of them, which I'm confident, is going to be the preservation of older characters. Finally, we also know that from CBD1 to CBD2, they've reworked 90% of their entire story to meet the players' expectations. You know, this is something that you don't really see in other companies. And in other gacha games, you know, they're mostly focused on the fact that they're trying to get as much money out of you as possible. I hope that with these efforts, you can see how committed they are in actually making this game succeed. Moving on to the second question, is Verina's kit good for players? Well, to that I say yes and no. And the reason why I say yes is because for casual players, her inherent skill, which is her passive skill, will prevent players from dying from difficult bosses, which is one of the main reasons why people think that she's good. However, that's also the reason why people think that it's not that good, because it has a 10-minute cooldown. Now I want you to shift your frame of thinking a little bit. I recommend you to think of her cooldown as not necessarily a way to fight against bosses, but to allow one to explore the unknown world. When you think of it from that perspective, every 10 minutes you'll be in a new area, and if that area is dangerous, then you won't necessarily die, but you'll be able to avoid that area and go to a new area. And there's also a massive player base that is super excited for hunting shiny echoes. And with the 10-minute timer, you can have more than enough chances to fight and catch these echoes. The use cases outside of spamming battles or fighting bosses are honestly endless. The second reason is because even for casual and hardcore players, it's still wise to pick Verina because the fact that she heals the entire team, she prevents a member from dying, she increases the main DPS's damage by 35%, and she also does AoE damage to the enemies. With all these benefits, sure, her passive skill isn't that good for fighting repeated battles, but to start Wuthering Waves and if you want to have an easy time, there really is no other character that gives player this much ease, which is exactly why my third point is on why one of the best things about her is the fact that she's extremely intuitive to play. An example of this is when she buffs a main DPS. All you have to do is use your resonant skills, which is the E ability, which gives her an extra 20% boost. So when you swap out to the DPS, her outro skill will activate, which heals her team and increases the total damage by 15%. The simplicity of her kit and the fact that Kuro Games is literally allowing you to choose your free 5-star standard character and makes us spend less for the characters that we want. So from what I've seen and from what I know, there really is no risk picking her up. But there are also reasons why I say that her kit is not necessarily best for a certain group of people. For instance, she's not best for those that are repeatedly fighting bosses or going on battles constantly. I'm sure there are other supports in the future or that are already out there that will be more helpful in that case. Second, if you're someone that loves to follow the meta, then going with a powerful DPS or a sub DPS might be the way to go instead. Her kit is super good, don't get me wrong, but it's good in the general aspects. I'm sure there'll be other supports in the future that will buff a massive portion of the specific niche, and that might be the character that you would want to wait for instead. And finally, as I've said in my previous videos and in basically every single guide, if you really don't like the character, then I don't recommend you to pull for her, because the love for the character that you want will always last forever, and the fact is that the meta will always change, so you never know what's really gonna happen. Now the final question is, should I include her in my team? Well, if you're a casual player or you like to do exploring around the world without much to worry, then I would definitely have Verina on my side. But if you're more hardcore and focused on the meta, then she's still a very good all-rounder, but a more niche support may help you in the long run. Alright, well, that's everything for me. I hope this discussion helps you decide on whether you want to get Verina or not. And if you like the video, you can join me for future guides or, discussions by liking, subscribing, and making sure to join the Discord to stay up to date on future events. Alright, I'll see you guys later. Bye.